So we've got a PowerPoint, okay? We've connected our PowerPoint to our data set. Brilliant, we can do everything we want. We've managed to show how we can go from it being a basic tool connected to a legacy data model. We've now been able to bring it through to our main data model, which has now got multiple events, but we haven't yet worked out a way to actually put it in a way that it can then exist and be reused and used quickly and easily. What should we do? Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. What we're going to look at today is we're going to just finish off that discussion that we started last week about governance, because there's a few things really, now you've kind of had that week to kind of think, right, I get it, that we should really go through, and it'll make a lot more sense why we do things in a particular way, and that'll land the idea hopefully for you. And then we'll go through and have a look at this PowerPoint piece, because I think when you look at governance, you have that playing in your mind, and we then look at the PowerPoint piece and remember that what we're doing today is as a business user. So I don't have rights to publish stuff back and directly into anything. So I'd have to go through some update cycle and pass it to our IT team or to our data team, using Microsoft parlance, our center of excellence, to actually publish that up and promote that to be used by everybody. But I can still produce a tool that could be used by everybody easily and efficiently. And I think that's a key point to understand. So we're going to go through and have a look at everything and make sure that you understand. Okay, so here we are in the Power BI service. Now, okay, I've got two browser windows open. One is me as our business user. This is me as who we're doing this with. And then the other one, I've logged an in private session into my normal developer account. Okay. Because I think it's important for you to kind of see the two, isn't it? And I was trying to work out what's the best way to show the two. So a developer or a member of your center of excellence or your community of practice will have lots and lots of workspaces that they have access to, depending on their job role. Okay, for me, don't forget, I'm the developer and big super admin for the whole area, so kind of got everything. Okay, but when I look at here in my business user persona, I can only see two areas. Okay, I've got this Parkrun's visualizations, and I've got the business senior leadership team, and I can go and I can see what's in those workspaces. And if I go back to my admin persona, we can see I've got this Parkrun data and Parkrun models as well. So there's two additional workspaces for them. And those workspaces, this is really what we mean. Let's bring this up to the favorites. So we've got those three together. Okay, is one of those areas we talk about. So governance is really easy. Oh, we're going to manage this, DevOps. Oh, it'll be easy. Okay. The realities of that comes down to splitting things out, because then you can govern and manage individual objects and items. And then you subdivide those into roles. So we have data, okay? And in data, we've got these three workflows that are really pulling everything through. So we've got one pulling through all the participation and the event histories. We've got one pulling through the volunteers and what history they've done. And then we've got one which is basically doing a bit of cross-tab querying to actually build those proper records for individuals. So we've got all that information in there that's managed by those three data flows. So each data flow has a function to it, and we've put them in a dedicated workspace. And we could turn around and say, this is going to be managed by our data engineering team. Okay, this is what they're going to do. At the moment, we've just got these data flows. These could be data flows that connect back to SQL servers. They could be data flows that connect to ERP systems that you've got. They could be data flows connecting to APIs on your various systems that you've got. The world is your oyster as far as that's concerned. But what we've got coming out as a product of this workspace is a list of tables. Okay, so if you went and connected to this workspace and said, I'm going to connect to this workspace and do something, you go, well, these are the data flows that are in them, and each data flow, if we click on one, we can see on the right hand side, it will have one or more tables. So this one just has SharePoint participation. Okay, SharePoint files participation. So we're just building a participation table from it. That's all we're doing. Okay. it could be multiples. So as I say, data flows, but do support you having multiple tables within them. There's no, oh, you can only do this. Okay, if we went into here, see we've got 3 tables coming out. Okay, so you piece together those, and then those are available upstream for people to pick and pull into a data model, which is why we say have a data layer separate from your semantic model layer, because you want to be able to reuse data, don't you? We don't want to be saying, well, this data's got one use and that's it. And we've shown that before, where we've gone through the hierarchy as we've built this report pack. It went from being Jesmond Dean to Newcastle to then saying, let's go Necker wide. Okay, so we've kind of expanded it up and it's gone through that way. But each previous version still exists and could still be used. So it's kind of, you get that idea that we can reuse and do these things forward. And I can, even today, I've used the officially one of the first versions of the Jesmond Dean one just to check a few numbers because it's easier to do. But the options are always there for people. And because everything's consistent and more importantly, coming from that standardized set of numbers, you can have faith in that version. For all we might be using a legacy version, it should still be right unless we've made changes in the semantic layer in terms of the way measures are calculated. Yeah? Okay. And we've touched on that, haven't we? Semantic layer. So the semantic layer is where the model is built. Okay, ignore the visualizations piece. The visualization piece, it's there, and it's purely because this is publicly published, you have to have it in the same workspace. So we've got the visualizations table. Don't worry about it. In practical terms, though, you would have your model, your semantic model there, and then you would have the file that comes with it, which again, it's not a limitation, it's not a weakness, it's not something, it's just, that's the reality of the way the Power BI platform has been built. So we always say, look, lock down the reports. If I click on the report to show you how it is in the service, see what we've done is we just put do not use for visualizations. And we've got some top high level metrics in it, which we could probably restructure and place differently. Okay, but fundamentally, it's there, easy enough to understand. Yeah? Okay. So we have models then, and then obviously we've got the semantic model. And the piece that you don't often see, and this is one of the things I want to show you because it's starting to get that way, is downstream here, we have, and let's zoom in here so you can see, we've got this report which is starting to appear in multiple areas. So for all we've done this and built this and with the aim of showing you guys kind of what we're doing, we've already got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reports connected to it. And yes, the vast majority are the same one, but, and this is one of the things that I've seen a few times, oh, the same report, why would we publish it multiple times? And you know, well, you probably would, but long term, is that report going to stay the same if it's published in different workspaces? And the answer is probably not. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? And how would you manage changes through to it if it was different? And so I hear both sides of the argument, I understand them. I'm not convinced either way, shape or form where this is a bad idea. But we've got this same report published multiple times in multiple locations. A key takeaway that you need to get from that. As I say, rightly or wrongly, this is how it is. Okay, so we've got that, and then also we've got a lovely dashboard as well for it there. And again, these can pick up and be built further on. And we can see then the dates, times that these are refreshed. Yeah, but we've got a whole load of stuff going on and assessing and pushing things and information into our data sets from there. And because this starts to come together where we've got the report content comes together with potentially we've got this engineering content, having your semantic layer again as a separate security entity makes sense, because you might say only a few people are actually able to do stuff within this. Some people are going to be able to contribute towards a semantic model. But again, you end up with a single script to govern and manage per report pack. So it doesn't make sense to say, oh, we're going to open this up to everybody. So I say, put them somewhere safe, separate for it. So it's why we have the third or the second group that we've got. So the second workspace. Yeah, this models workspace. And then lastly, as I say, have one or more visualization workspaces. You could see here we've got visualizations. I don't like visualizations being tied to a model, because that implies that you're going to have an app or a read layer for each and every one. So we've got that as an example. But what you saw, if you remember when we looked back at the semantic model here, was that lots of other ones in this BISSLT and this AWS, senior leadership team. So these are ones where we've pieced together different things. So our senior leadership team report that's got lots of other content in it also has our Parkrun report there for the senior leadership team to view. And because we've got all the content that this team is going to use there, that makes their life really easy. And if they contact our IT team, I can't get the report content, they know one link we need to make sure they can access, just one. And if there's other things, there's permissions within there, but there shouldn't be permissions within there because we're building it for the audience, aren't we? Yeah? And then because that's based on a management structure, potentially it has a different access control list in terms of who's actually going to support that, build the app, do that, do this. And that's then where the wider community of practice really comes in. So it goes from being about engineering to your center of excellence to your community of practice very quickly and easily. But it becomes important that we actually understand and recognize why the separations are there, and also are very clear when we do separate things out, why we have, and be able to justify that decision. And that justification is also vital, because that's then you said, this is why we've done it this way. This is why it works for us as a business, because there is not a one size fits all argument for this. This needs to work for you. Let's have a look. Now I'm going to close this one and let's have a look then here. Okay, so this is the report that we built. This is it in PowerPoint, which is obviously, again, great to see. You can see the PowerPoint. I've clicked on it, so it's cached everything. So this is, again, if you're going to present connected PowerPoints in it, go through each slide before you present them, because if they have to wait, and it really annoys everybody. But these are live data. They're connected to it. So again, I can click and see stuff. Because it's connected to it, it started to bring through like 2026 already. And I'm like, oh, I don't even want this. It's just not good. So we need to do something, don't we, to actually piece together and put this in where we're going to have our filters be correct for each one. And then also it'd be nice to make it so that our filters can be used in such a way that we could say, I actually want to see what a different event looks like, knowing full well that means we're going to have to change all the images for it. So we won't change the images today, but no, I will be doing that at some point. Okay, but the goal here is going to be very much about saying, right, we should be able to piece it so that automatically these have the right dates in them. And it's overall, I don't think it's too difficult, because this is all, but we presumably want all up to a maximum date. So that's easy, because that'd be the end of the year that was selected. And likewise, we've got this, which is going to be a selected year, haven't we? So we know we're going to have an up to a particular point, like here. This is just year 2025, sorry. Or an up to a particular point, obviously like this. So this would be up to the end of 2025. We want this. And then these ones would be 2025 only. So we've kind of got a picture. We know roughly what we should have here, don't we? I think that's the key point. So let's go through and show what we do to do that. Here we are, Power BI desktop, where we've got our report, haven't we? Okay, see it in PowerPoint. Here it is, Power BI desktop. We can go through and we can look at the different pages and we can see, this is how we can see it. I think the one page that really we aren't going to be able to do today, and partly it's because I haven't really worked out a good way of actually making this work. The reason why this is a problem is it's this dynamic chart here. Okay, small multiples in Power BI still cannot be dynamic. That's the headache. And ultimately as well, if we look, we go from region-wise of having one event in a local authority to I think it's 7 or 8 in another local authority, in one of the other local authorities. So it's kind of, there's a lot to vary in that and make that work, and those need to work properly. So I think that might be a page that we'd end up having to say, we completely redesign it. We would do away with that. We can use the tree map. That would work very well. Potentially the pie chart we'd need to put as a separate tree map or something along those lines where it's just more about the full blanket numbers. But again, I think we're not at a point where we're saying this is terrible, we don't know. It's just a case saying we would need to rethink to make this work. And it's not problematic. We can easily get there and cover what it is we'll do. And I'll show you everything that we would do for it. And what we need to think is the problem is going to be, it's these pages here where we need the year and the historic values. But what we see is that it brings in the current year because that's kind of what it's doing. And we tend to build the end of year report before the end of year. So it's not good enough to just say, well, everything up to year -1, which is up to last year, which would be great. But if we're looking at anything up until the 1st of January, then we can't see it. That's not a problem. We just need to, there's got to be a better way of doing it. Okay. Likewise with these, do we want to be putting year 0 in, which we could also at year -1, again, we could do. It would work. It's not going to be oh, this is terrible. And we can have a look at that. So let's do that first and see what that would look like. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we have to add a page. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's add a new page. Okay, so for the selection, what we'll look to do is we'll go into event name, search for that, but under tracked events, you can see it's here, event name. I'm just going to pop that onto here. Okay, zoom out, and then what we're going to do is we'll change that to be a slicer. And then I will go in, just to make sure this works properly, under slicer settings, what we're going to do is leave it as a vertical list, but we're going to, under selection, pick single select. Okay, and I'll scroll down and do that. Okay, and it's only in Excel, we can put a multiple list together, isn't it? But we'll leave it as, fine, that'll work. Okay, so the idea with this is that we'd be able to pick an event, and then that would update the filter context of everything throughout the table. What we would do here, okay, is we would then say what we want to do, and again, partly why we have issues with the other site, because changing the context it would probably cause problems. Although it's in one visual, we might be able to get right away with it. Context is always a problem with it. So we'll come through, and what we're going to say is we're going to go in and we need to enable something that's a bit hidden. So we've got this sync slicers. By default, it is off. Okay, so by default it'll be off. We want it to be on. Okay, and what that does is that adds this icon here for you on the right hand side. So if we pick sync slicers, and I'm gonna hide a couple of these because otherwise it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Okay, these are the pages that we're going to have the sync slicer on. So I'm going to click the top one to add it to every page. That will place this slicer on each and every page. But I don't want it on each and every page. I just want it to synchronize. So we've got the left column, which is the synchronize from. And remember, you always have to include the page that's going to have it on it. And then we can hide it from all the other pages. That's going to hide the event page, the event filter from it. Okay, so we've got an event name filter here now for everybody. So I'm going to pick Jesmond Dean by default, although let's pick Harrington, just because it's next to it. And that way we'll know when we've made the right updates to everything. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. And we'll start at the front page, won't we? Okay, so we've got here. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to go and create a value. And this value is going to be, there we go, event name. Okay, so we want event name, so Harrington. I'm going to call this selected event. Okay, so Harrington. I've got one space in there, that's fine. I'm going to center that. Brilliant. Okay, and for here, the calendar year, okay, saying a silly year. Okay, we're going to select a year. Okay, and then what we're going to do here, the filter on the page, is we're going to go through and we're going to pick one of the offsets, bring the year offset in, filter on this page is -1. apply that filter. Okay, minus 20, oh sorry, 2025. So we've got Newcastle, so we could do something similar with Newcastle. We would say, well, it's minus 2021. So everything's gone blank because the filter that's flowing through here is saying, well, we want Harrington, but Harrington isn't in Newcastle. So I said we wouldn't do this page. This page here, so we're going to remove the filter on there. We're going to remove the filter for year. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the year offset on this page, where it is -1. Hit apply again. Okay, so suddenly we've got everything coming through for Harrington, which we can see if we hover over here. We get this. We can see the filter. Let's zoom in. See the filter that's being applied is Harrington. Year offset's -1. Just that. Gender's not blank. Okay, that works. Even got it in here. The 50 events that were held at Harrington, total distance, everything. So all those measures have automatically come through. Even our SVGs are correct. Go through to page 3. The event numbers were this. This is a manual one, so we would need to work out how we can automate this one, which is not going to do that now. What we can do is we can turn around and say we're going to cancel that. And then what we'll do again is we'll bring in the year offset on this page where it's less than or equal to -1 and apply that filter. So that's now going to be correct. So we've got something that allows us to build these things up. So what we would need to do, I think, with this is we'd need to work through. So we can say we need something a bit more narrative-y around this, I think, is part of it. But we can certainly bring in the average field size, the average age grade, to what it should be, the average overall and versus the average of the current year and what that difference is. Because we can work through that. And you've seen how we can edit these pages as well. We'll go and do that again. And then what we'll do is we will remove this and we will bring in year offset where it is -1, apply, top 10 for all years. Okay. We're going to remove that and we'll say for all years. What we really mean by that is where years are, year offset, no, advanced filtering, where it is less than or equal to -1. Apply that. Okay, so we've got, this is applying to Harrington, which is what we wanted, the top 10 for the current year. So we're going to remove that and we'll say again, year on this page, where it is -1. Apply that top 10. Get rid of adjustment D, get rid of that. Year is -1. It's there, isn't it? Again, we need to do something with the pages where these numbers get a bit difficult or the things fall apart. Unfortunately, again, here we've got a manual thing. Can't think of a better way of putting it. Less than or equal to -1. Okay, so we've pieced this almost all together already. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that and we'll bring in year offset where this is -1. Okay, so this would be available then from the 1st of January to show us this is what's happened. And all I would need to do is go through to selection. I can pick a different park run. I can look at that. We'll see this is Ellmere Park. Can't look at that one, can we? We can see here are the figures coming through. Tells us what's happened with it. Okay. Drury's Bay. Page 2 is the one I'm most interested in, just seeing it's different yet. Okay, so we can see this is already piecing it together. And the context piece that you've seen is that the way the filters on the page flow through. So we've dropped in this year offset to then be able to flow through. And we can see when we look at these pages especially, if we look at this measure here, the filter, sorry, on the report, we can see we've got year offset is less than or equal to -1. So what we're saying is only show those years. And it will. And you've seen then that we can go through, we can change the event, we can do this, we can do that. If we wanted to say, do something different with the years and have it work the way you could pick a year as the maximum year and then it would flow through. So we could then put 2026 in and see how 2026 is going. If we decided we wanted to do that in the middle of the year, for example, we could do it. But what we would need to do it is we would need to set up, okay, and I've set it up to show you really what that is we would set up a parameter table or a separate version of the year information. So I've set up this parameter year where we've just got year and we've just got a list of the years. This is just like a values of years, and we can then put things against that. So if we were to put, say, event held, against that, you see you get nothing. It's not linked in properly to it. Okay, it's just going to give a static list because the context is broken. But we can use that to get us a value that we can then reference back into a measure and use that to then filter the year table or the calendar table, sorry, to give us the right values. And we'll still have the context of a year from our calendar table to use effectively. So what do you think? Okay, the important part that you need to understand and recognize is that there's a flow of your information and of your data through. So the governance structure that we've built is allowing us to say information is going to come through and it protects the separations between the two. That's the big point. So by having data flows and data processing areas separate, you build this idea of having a table point or a separation point between data engineering and data modeling. And that separation means that if there's an issue, we can check on either side of the line as to where the problem starts. So if it's happening in our SQL server, for example, one of the things I often say is use a SQL view as a great way of doing it, rather than writing custom SQL queries as the entry point to your data flow. Because if that stops working, the data flow stops working. The data flow stops working, doesn't it? Great. Potentially you've gone through and done an app upgrade and columns have changed or been renamed, and the view that you've written on the SQL Server doesn't render anymore. If you know that, you go straight to SQL Server Management SQL Server Management Studio, and you go through and you write select star from view, doesn't come up. Your data flow is not going to work, is it? That's why we do it this way. So we can see, all right, the data flow stopped refreshing. A nice thing with the data flows as well that is a lifesaver for these is it caches values. So in the event that it doesn't refresh, the reports will still be able to read that historic value. Not great in terms of, oh, rubbish, it's not moving us forward, which if it's a sales table is definitely a problem. But you've got that historic, you haven't suddenly stopped working. You've got that ability to then go through and understand what's happened. It's not a case of, well, it's off, we can't access any of the reports. It's like, we've got access to the reports, we can access everything, we've got nothing that happened since the last refresh. We now need to fix that, definitely, but it's not a case of system down, fix it. It's a case of annoying, fix it now. So we can do all that. Then you've likewise got your data models, your semantic layer. By having that as a separate area, it allows you to turn around and say, right, these reports are all going to access it. I showed you already with our little bit that we've been doing things with, just for these few videos, we've ended up with it in multiple workspaces. We've got, 10 reports or something connected to it already. This is just doing little bits of noddy stuff where I've got a template. Let's go through and build a new report based on this. Quick drag and drop. For a demo for you guys, here's a new report. Can you imagine what this is like corporately, where you've got people actively properly using it, not just me using it to build one video a week for you? If you were in business land, this is going to, I've got 3 people who are going to be building 2 or 3 reports each per day for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Plus then they'll be doing a report a week on top of that just because of the additional pieces. Numbers quickly add up. It's not uncommon to see 20, 30, 40 reports connected to a semantic model. That's what you want to get to. That's what the Power BI dashboard side, which is really difficult to go through with these, we'll try and do something in the next couple of weeks with it. Showing you a few things, but it never lands until people really see it, and it's really difficult to build it without having that full library of reports that make sense to have. That with the data sets we build, they are deliberately simple because it needs to be presented on one report as opposed to it being that simple complex system that is a normal traditional business process. Okay, yeah, simple because there's a few variables that are actually being mapped into them. The reality for a complex system would be you've got a myriad of real world things that go on that could really impact your business. We're never going to be able to have that whole piece, but we can never actually properly extrapolate and understand the full complexity of the system without running through it. So it becomes emergent. It's not a whole thing. So it's a simple, complex system. It's what analysis is. Terrible, I know. Okay. But this is how we do it, by having these broken down areas, by having our app workspaces that focus around job role and bringing all the content of the various semantic models that we have, which bear in mind, based on what you've seen, it's going to be less than 5 realistically, coming through to that one location. Everything's available. I've got one link to tell my team to make sure they can access. We've got everything there. You can connect it to Teams and then have those discussions and point around all on Teams with it. Works really well. Genuinely, it does. Okay. So hope that makes sense. I hope you've enjoyed it. For now, though, stay safe. Take care. Ta-da.